Smoke a nigga top for your baby girl.
Hey besties, so today I'm coming to y'all with a fully detailed wig install video. This wig is from Wiggins hair, and I'm just showing y'all some of the details of the wig, how it came straight out of the box before I bleached it, before I plucked it, anything like that. It was pretty much pre-plucked, so I didn't have to do as much plucking, but I have a certain plucking style I use, so I wanted to use that one. Anyways, I use Quick Blue Bleach by L'Oreal, and I also use 40 Developer. It really doesn't matter what kind of bleach you use. I just like to say if you're going to use bleach that's like a white color, I say to put blue dye in it so it can take out some of that brassiness of it. And then I say put just a little bit of developer so it can be like of a thick consistency. So here I'm just showing y'all how I apply the bleach to the lace. I like to leave the bleach on anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. It just depends on the type of wig it is because some wigs are harder to bleach than others. So you do have to leave the bleach on a little bit longer. But I tell y'all to monitor the wig because you'll see when the wig starts to bleach. So if the wig already has bleached before 30 minutes has even passed, you can go ahead and rinse the bleach out. This is what mine looked like after 30 minutes of bleaching. This is how I like to bleach my wigs, just a little bit over bleach, but like not too much. Okay, so what I like to do is put like a white towel or a white washcloth, a white shirt on my wig head just so I can see the lace a little bit better when I pluck. And then I like to hot comb all the hair backwards before I start plucking. And the plucking method that I use is called the skip pluck method. You may see people use that method a lot. I really like this method because I just like the way it makes the hairline look. So I pull just a little bit of hair out in the front and then I hot comb back, and then this is when you see me do the skip pluck method, and you literally just do that all the way across. And I tried to zoom in to show y'all just like a better view of it. So here I'm showing y'all after I've did the skip pluck method all the way across. Now what I'm going to do is take all the hair that I pulled out and put it back into the other hair that I've already plucked. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did on that row to the row in the front. And y'all can see right here, this is after I did the skip pluck method. This is just the way that I like to pluck my wigs. Everybody has a preference, but this is my way. Okay, y'all, here I'm going to show y'all how I do my bald cap method. This is my personal preference of doing my bald cap method. So I cut my ears out first because I just feel like if I don't cut my ears out first, the cap is not going to lay right. And then after that, I take my Ruby Kisses in the color 11 and I just put it all over the bald cap. I use HD caps because I feel like HD caps are easier to glue down. You can get HD caps off Amazon or you can get them from like any wig company. They pretty much send them with the wigs. And then after that, after I feel like it's enough makeup, I use my Bold Hold Active to glue the cap down. But just try to be careful when it comes to taking your wig and your cap off because the glue is kind of close to your edge line. And you need to use maybe some conditioner or C12 or something to take off your wigs and to take your cap off. I don't recommend alcohol because it dries your hairline out. Okay, so this part really determines on what your preference is, but I like to cut my ears out before I glue my wig down. But I also used to do it to where I cut my ears out after I glue it down, but I find it cutting your ear tabs off before you glue it down is just way easier and it makes it just sit, because my wigs used to come up at like where my sideburns were, and I figured out this method and it just worked out easier for me. So this is what I recommend, but it just depends on your preference. Okay, so for gluing my wig down, I do use Bold Hold Active, and I use anywhere between 2 to 3 layers of glue, but the more layers you use, the longer your wig stays. I'm not a person who wears my wigs very often, so I just use 2 to 3 layers, just depending on how long I'm going to wear it. If I'm only wearing my wig for a day, I probably use 2 layers, but if I'm wearing my wig for a week, I'll probably use anywhere between 3, sometimes 4, just depending on the day, but I stay around the 2 to 3 range when I glue my wigs down. It just depends on your preference as well, and then it also depends on your preference of glue that you want to use. You may have to use less or more. So before I put my band on, I like to go in with my black even spray because this is going to give me like the extra hold that I need. And then I go in, I put my band on, and I leave my band on anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. It just depends. But before I put the band on, I like to make sure that my spray is like just a little bit dry, because if you put it on there while it's not dry, you're going to get that, that little gunk on your lace, and then no, we don't want that. So just make sure you let it dry just a little bit. You can use a blow dryer if you want, but I don't really use a blow dryer. Something that I realized made a big difference for me is after I put the band on, I like to hot comb all of the hair back into one place. I just feel like this makes it better. I don't know exactly what it does, but I feel like it helped me tremendously when improving my installs. Okay, so I like to part my hair down the middle for my bust down so I can hot comb it. If you're gonna do a side part, you do it exactly the same way. You just part it on the side. So I like to hot comb first, and I also like to hot comb some of the hair to the back, and then I like to hot comb hair on two sides. This just makes it better. I need a better hot comb because my hot comb just doesn't get as hot anymore, but I've used it for a while, so I feel like that's why it doesn't really get that hot, but it still get me the melt, and it still give me the press that I need. Okay, and then I like to use a edge stick. It does not matter which edge stick you use because I go through two edge sticks. It just depends on which one I feel like using that day. And then I go back and I hot comb again until it's as flat as possible. We don't want no big wig. We always talk about this. We don't want a big wig, so you want to hot comb it and get it as flat as possible. And then when it's as flat as you want it, you can go in, you can style it, you can do whatever to it. Just make sure it's flat. I feel like I used to have a hard time with getting my wigs flat because I didn't have a really good hot comb, and then I got me a really good hot comb, and now I have to buy another one because it's going out. I've used it so much. So a really good hot comb will improve how flat your wigs get. Okay, so when it comes to cutting your lace, you want to cut your lace in a zigzag line because it really makes it kind of undetectable. I know people be like, what lace? And then some people be like, the lace is right there. But you're supposed to be able to see lace. I don't care what nobody say. You're supposed to be able to see it. You're supposed to be able to know that a wig is a wig, and that's fine. But to make it just a little undetectable, at least make it melt into your skin, cut in a zigzag line and use some melting spray. I'm about to actually show y'all how I apply my melting spray here in just a couple seconds. But the melting spray that I use is by Pretty Palace Hair. I also did use the black even, but I spilled my black even everywhere, y'all. I left it open and then I put it in a drawer by accident and it literally spilled everywhere. So I had this melting spray by Pretty Palace Hair that I hadn't tried yet, and then y'all, now I just live by the Pretty Palace Hair melting spray. Highly recommend that. I'm gonna put that in the description for y'all to get y'all some. But I definitely recommend y'all use melting spray before you put your band back on after cutting your lace, because it just gives you that melt that you need. So after I finish putting my melting spray on, I like to take hair out for my edges and then put my band back on. And y'all, I honestly just learned how to really get good at edges because I'm really not the best at edges, but I'm learning. And actually, y'all, it's a process. So if you don't get it right the first time, just keep practicing. Do not give up, because I know y'all, in this economy, the hairstylist is high, baby. So I know some of us want to learn how to do our own hair, and that's totally fine. So yeah, just practice makes perfect. I feel like you got to practice, practice, practice. I'm still not where I want to be with my hair, so I feel like as long as you practice, you'll be okay. But back to the topic. I take my edges out, and I like to take just a little bit out. Y'all see when I say just a little bit, because I don't want my edges to be too thick, but I don't want it to be too thin. So that's just the amount that I take out. And then I do that to the other side as well, and I hot comb them down, and then I put my band back on. And then you'll see that this is me put my band on. I be struggling to put my band on, y'all, but right here during this moment of put my band on, I make it extremely tight. My head be hurting, but the lace be melted. Okay. Okay, so when you're cutting your edges, cut them at an angle just so they won't all be the same length. Because I feel like when you're cutting your edges, it don't all need to be the same length. And then I take my little baby curler. I love it. I call it a baby curler. And then I curl my edges upwards just because I like more of like fluffy edges kind of. I don't know how to explain it, y'all. I like for my edges to look fluffy. So that's why I curl mine upwards and then I curl my sideburns downwards. And then I take some mousse and I put it on my edges and then I swoop in like a C. And then when you swoop in a C, make sure you're using your finger to guide you to swoop it. And then the next thing that I do is I take some Got2b gel. Well, first I have to cut the edges because they were too long. That's why I was telling y'all, when you cut the edges, do not cut them all the same length because they'll either be too long or too short when you try to do it. So try to cut them at an angle and then swoop in a C and use your finger. And then I like to use Got2b gel after I go in with the mousse just so I can hold it in place because the Got2b gel holds it. The mousse doesn't really hold it like the Got2b gel. So that's why I use the Got2b gel. And then just continue to swoop until you get your desired look. Some people like their edges to look a certain way. However you like your edges, do your edges that way. But this is just the way that I like to do my edges. And then after you finish your edges, just go ahead and put your band on so you know they will stick in place. And then go ahead and style your hair however you like. I, of course, did a bust down because you cannot go wrong with a bust down. I think this was 26 inches, but it gave 28. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. The wig gave 28. But I flat ironed it with the Baby Bliss. I want to say those are Baby Bliss Pro. No, not the Baby Bliss Pro. Baby Bliss Titanium. I got them from Sally Beauty's like 2 years ago, and they're still going strong. I want to get the blue ones. I just haven't had the chance to go to the store and get them. But after you get done styling your hair, you can go ahead and put concealer in your part. And I also like to take mascara and just clean up the part after I do the concealer. I forgot to show it on camera. I'm sorry, y'all. But this is the finished look of my hair once I finished. And those are all the steps that I take to get an install that looks like this. And I really hope this helped you guys. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.